Alright guys, gals, and everything in between. I am here today. As you all probably know, I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan, whether it be the books, TV shows, and movies. I love it all. Sherlock Holmes is amazing. I love Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century animation. I love everything Sherlock Holmes. And so when I found out that there was going to be a movie about Sherlock Holmes when he's in his 90s, I was like, that could be interesting. I've never heard of that before. Mr. Holmes. Alright, guys, gals, and everything in between. Mr. Holmes is the drama period piece film directed by Bill Condon, and the plot of the film is that Sherlock Holmes is in his 90s, he's retired, he's kind of failing in health, but there's one case that he remembers, and it was his last case that he couldn't solve that brought him to retirement, and he's trying to recreate it in his head in order to figure it out before he passes on, because he doesn't want an unsolved case in his ledger. Now, in case you guys didn't know, I am a huge Sherlock Holmes fan, and I'm going to shamelessly plug myself here. I actually do my own short film series with some friends and colleagues about Sherlock Holmes actually in college, and John Watson is his roommate. I hope you guys eventually check that out, but back to the review. Mr. Holmes is directed by Bill Condon, and in case you didn't know, this guy actually did Twilight, Breaking Dawn Part 2, and I couldn't believe that. He also did Kinsey, which makes more sense, but it's starring Ian McKellen and Laura Linney. And Ian McKellen plays Sherlock Holmes, who's old and weary, and he really perfectly embodies Sherlock Holmes in an aging sense, because at first when I saw him I was like, dang, he's playing old. And then they show him at the same time, and I'm like, no, wait, oh, he's playing two different ages of Holmes. And so he's playing like a Holmes in like what I assume is like his 70s, and then a Holmes in his 90s. And this is amazing. I loved this because you see him like really weary, and it's really getting to him. He slowly builds a bond with this boy. I don't know who he is, but he does an amazing job. This film is spectacular in landscape and setting up these very human stories. This isn't the super intense, like Robert Downey Jr. or even Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock Holmes experience here. This is a very human-esque story. It's actually more like a character study on aging and feeling like you're past your time. And it is beautiful to watch this unfold. Everyone, Mr. Holmes is an incredibly beautiful film and powerful, because you see Holmes, and you know, Holmes has kind of been this snarky, funny guy. We always go, we relate to you because you say what we don't say socially because people would hate us. And you see an older Holmes, but he's like this old soul, and you can tell that he feels so lonely inside, and Ian McKellen gives an Academy Award like primed performance. Like, he is set to be nominated, and I think he should be, as of right now anyway. It is truly the best role he's played since Gandalf, if you ask me, but it's one of the better roles he's played. And they do a great job having these two characters portrayed. Laura Linney plays kind of like that obnoxious, like, elderly woman role. She's his housekeeper, and she does a great job. There is no Mrs. Hudson or John Watson, and I thought that was really interesting, that it's all from just Holmes. Everyone else around him is not there, and he realizes that he like, life has kind of passed him by. He's not the master detective anymore. He is just the human being who realizes he's alone. And this is such a beautiful character study on loneliness and what it feels like to be accepted and building bonds with people. Because there's this bond between Holmes and this young boy. And he really kind of almost teaches him the ways of life, and you see how he realizes that he's relating his life to the fact that he's it, and what why is he it, and he shouldn't be there, and he's alone, and you really feel all this, and you're on this hour and 45-minute journey, and it is so incredible, and it's so well filmed and directed by Bill Condon. It's a slower paced film, but at the same time you're watching it and you're just so fascinated by how these characters act, and that is an incredible thing to me. Guys, gals, and everything in between, Bill Condon has directed a masterful work of just an artistic piece that I feel like will be shown in film schools about how to truly do character development, because every single one of these characters, I felt like I knew them, I was related to them, that I wanted to be around them, and I was around them, and I feel like I know these characters like I would know friends or family, and that is an incredible achievement. And so I have to say, it is a must-watch, an absolute must-watch. You should go out and see Mr. Holmes. And if you're not into seeing drama pieces on the big screen, definitely rent this. It is so good. I'm going to say that Mr. Holmes is absolutely big screen worthy, though.